Good evening. I'm Linda Thompson. I'm a mother of three. I have two young men, one 31 and one 38. Well, actually, he's 39. I also have a daughter who's 38 and a granddaughter that's 21 and two small grandchildren that's ages of 4 and 5, and that's a young boy, that's the youngest one, and a young girl. My concern this evening is the police and the activities I've been watching on the news. I be on CNN all the time. I'm like a CNN fiend. I'm on CNN because a lot of people are watching and looking and want to know what is going on. What's going on? What's going on? I try my best to like everybody else, um, give a fair judgment on both sides of on both accounts, the police side, the victim sides, and even though I've looked and researched and found material to support this information, as a parent, I'm still concerned. As a parent with two young black males and a baby boy that's about 4, 5 years old, coming up into this world today in the United States of America, I am concerned. And as any parent would be, from watching the recent violence on TV and in the news and all through the public, and if you are in certain areas, you might be witnessing it firsthand. I personally witnessed it firsthand recently in March. My door was kicked in. Um, I live in a rooming house, and unto my knowledge, the young man in the basement was selling drugs out the basement. Well, I'm not a drug dealer or a drug supporter, but I was I was victimized just the same. The officers kicked in my door just as well as they kicked in his door. They searched my house, my room, I should say, just as well as they searched all the other rooms in the house, and proceeded to do their business. But something occurred that day that I never seen before in my son, who was at the time visiting me. He lives in Florida, but he tends to worry about me a lot, so he comes and stays with me occasionally when he has the time. And that was one of those times. It was the week of my birthday, and it was a good time to come see mommy, birthday time and all that. And he was sleeping on the floor, which is normal for him because he has a very bad back, and I don't have a hard bed, and so he'll sleep on the floor because he said more comfortable. And we don't really get into that much because I got a futon and all that, but he preferred the floor, especially near my bed. And that was the day when they kicked the door in. They just kicked it in, and he was on the floor, and he jumps up, and I jumps up, and the first thing the officer said was, "Put your hands up." Well, we looked at each other because we had our hands up. We were like, as they say, Michael Brown in this piece. We both had our hands up, and we looked at each other strange because he was looking at me like, "You ain't got your hands up," and I'm looking at him like, "You ain't got your hands up." Well, we did have our hands up, but as the officer proceeded to do their norm for raiding or kicking or whatever you want to call it, we sit there, and in 15 minutes, my son was gone. He didn't go to jail. He went to work. I, on the other hand, waiting on my bus to come get me to take me to school, I was with them for 45 minutes. And how he left was bizarre. I say bizarre because the first thing they did when they seen a young man in his 30s, early 30s at that, was proceeded to put him in handcuffs. I was protesting, of course, being his mother. I was screaming, he's being profiled. He didn't do anything because I know he just got there. And I know that, when I said that, the officer, well, he must have just came in the door. And then they asked me about, the young man in the basement. And then we found out later. Well, I found out later because he was gone. And I was concerned about that because he knew how to get his situation, well, get himself out of that situation. I, on the other hand, was battled because I seen him in the police hand in handcuffs and was led out of the room, and 5 minutes later he was unhandcuffed and let go. In a normal procedure, I had to ask him later, what did you say? What did you do? Because I was hysterical. I mean, I was frantic. I ain't gonna lie about it. I was acting foolish. I was, every 5 minutes they was talking about the medical people was coming up there because they didn't know if I was gonna have a heart attack or what. Because I was just going berserk. But I remember him saying something, and when he said it, and I looked over, I didn't recognize my child. Now, 31 years this baby boy of mine has been around me. He ain't been around me, he been up under me. Like I said, he'll come see me out the blue, especially around a special day, but he considered a special day. And sleep on the floor if he have to, because he want to be next to mommy. But he said, in a voice I never heard of, he said, "Mother, please relax and let the officers do their job. They have a warrant." I didn't know who that person was. I honest to God did not know who that was. I didn't know where he got that accent, where he got that language, but I know within 5 minutes after he was put in handcuffs, he was on his way to work. Me, on the other hand, oh no, man! I watched this one officer. He was strapped from head to toe, looked like he was over there in Desert Storm somewhere. I'm like, yo, you got to have on all that? I mean, he's strapped between his leg all the way up to his neck, and he got on stuff that you only see in the war. And he said, for protection. I looked around the room. From who? Ain't nobody here but me and you. Another one come in, he got his piece out, drawn, it's cocked, open. I'm like, is that necessary, officer? Every 5 minutes, the medic kept coming back because I was going frantic. Because I'm in a little room, 3rd floor. Ain't no way to get out of here but the window. I barely got what they call a closet, if you want to call that a closet. And he said he had to search and make sure he was not endangered. Again, I was frantic. I didn't know what to say. All I kept saying is, I need to get dressed and go to school. I don't know what's going on. They said, well, an officer would come and explain everything to you, a detective, and I was talking to everybody, even to the officer dog, cute little mutt, and I still couldn't understand what was going on because during that time, I knew my son was still in police custody. I knew he was being harassed unnecessarily. I knew, and this is what I was thinking at the time, even though it wasn't. Even though when he left my sight, they let him go. Me, on the other hand, I was retained for about 45 minutes. I was then able to get dressed, and the detective explained to me that we was victims of innocent, being that we just happened to live in the same house where this young man decided to set up a drug shop. I don't know who he think he was going to do, but I guess now he had learned his lesson. I guess I don't know what they're going to do because I study law. I'm not into criminology like that, but I was more concerned about my son. Being a mother, knowing he just came in town, and And I'm like, man, I didn't believe he come back for this, and it's just before my birthday, and I was just going on and on and on, and the officers was trying to calm me down, and I just kept saying, "Where is he? Where is he? What y'all do to him?" And I'm looking, and I'm frantic, and after I got dressed, and I'm all outside, and they said he's gone. I said, "Where did y'all take him?" He said, "We released him." Y'all released him? Oh yeah, ma'am. As soon as the detective said, "Come here, son," and asked him a few questions, and then they released him. Well, I talked to my son later, and they released him within seconds, just like he said. And it was what he did that got him released. I, on the other hand, was restrained not because I had anything to do with anything, but because they were more concerned about my medical health, which I found to be comical because I want to go to school. I just want to get out of there. But they had to do their job, which is what my son was telling me. They had to do their job. And because I was frantic and I was acting at irate, which is the best way to say it, I was acting irate. Who wouldn't be? Somebody standing around you with a bunch of guns. You ain't gonna get frantic. If you come, then something wrong with you. But anyway, that's my personal feeling. And my son said he knew what to say to the officers so that he can be released. Now I'm more concerned because I know you're 31 years old and I know I'm 57. Well, who told you what to say to the police so they can let you go automatically? He said, I just informed them of my rights. I informed them of that I was acknowledging their rights, and I was respectful to them. They was respectful to me, and they let me go. I said, so why they keep me? He said, because they were concerned about your medical health. I said, why? I want to go to school. I just wanted to go get dressed and go to school. He said, but the more you was agitated, they couldn't just walk away from you knowing that you was upset until they knew that you was calmed down enough and that when they leave, you ain't going to be a case that have, they left and you died or had a heart attack or something like that. I'm still kind of stupid on that because I didn't think the police was doing that. But that's what he said. And he was gone in 5 minutes. I recently recorded a conversation my son and I had over some of the police activity on the internet and on TV. I recorded this information and I want to share this information, and maybe you can enlighten yourself on what he see and how he see the police in his community and around him. His view is totally different from mine, and I'm sure maybe from a lot of you, and maybe a lot of you agree with him, but it keeps him safe. Well, I don't have to worry about him being legally upheld, because as long as he know his rights, as he put it, and they are aware that he know his rights, as he put it, then he will have no objective to being able to take the information that he's about to give you and share it. Some of the information has a lot of profanity attached to it, and I have to excuse that profanity for those that don't like profanity. But if you are have an anger inside of you, the profanity is there to express the anger that's in you. Even though you are expressing your views, your anger is expressed in the profanity. That's the way I seen it. So I'm sharing that with you, and I hope you all enjoy. And to conclude this, I don't know how to justify anything that's been going on recently in the police activity, whether it's a black or white or something of that other natures. But I did have one theory that I looked up and I found that I would share about the stress officers go through, because that incident where that officer was standing in my house was just one of their daily duties, and when they left me, I don't know how many more duties such as they had to attend, and those duties what brings these officers into the light where today you see officers that may be irate, but as this other author that I have information I shared with you suggests that the stress that these officers are under is a lot more uh, uh, prevalent than just the incidents that's happening. Those incidents are outlashes of stressed out officers, some of them, and that was stressed out. So I made sure I put that information in there for you also. I appreciate this class. I really had a great time, and I will everyone a blessed and wonderful time. Enjoy the video. Thank you very much.